Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you here. Welcome to the Art of the Feminine podcast. Just doing a quick sound check to make sure that everything is, um, that you can hear me. So I'm just going to check in really quick. Take a peek and make sure the sound is good. I'm on a little bit different system at the moment. And so if you can hear me, just let me know. All right. Well, I'm hoping that you can. I don't see anyone saying yes, but we're just making sure. You know what? I want to make sure before we continue. And so, if somebody could just put a yes in the chat box and let me know that the sound is working. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So good to hear from you. And I appreciate you doing that. So, I want to say a big welcome to all of the new subscribers on this channel. It's really, really great to have you. And I also want to say welcome back to all of you who have been coming here for a while. It's so nice to see you and really appreciate those of you who make it to the live streams. I so enjoy the interaction, and I'm getting a little bit better rhythm, and so we can get to questions much smoother and make sure that I'm able to cover all of them. And so if you're a subscriber, you know that if you hit the notification bell, you will receive notice just before we go live or just as we're going live. It's just like, I think it flashes across your phone or they send you an email and just says that we're live. So make sure to hit the notification bell if you have subscribed. We meet once a week, and I post the link to the live stream also on the channel, on the Shannon Port channel. So every Friday at 12 p.m. I post the time for that week. So we try to hit Friday, but if we don't, you'll be able to find it on the channel. Oh, so nice to see everyone. Happy Sunday. And so I also want to let all of you who are new know that yes, I do private sessions. I got a whole bunch of emails on that last week, and I guess it wasn't so clear, but I am available to do archetypal blueprint sessions where we look at your chart and then we look at it, even we go to the next level. We look at how the archetypes are dancing with each other, and it can be a whole new perspective in where you're coming from. It's the story of your soul, where you're headed, and what are the profound gifts that you have come in with in this lifetime. And it can access books and books of wisdom. So if you are interested, you can find that in the description box below. It's Art of the Feminine is my website. And join me on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is very interactive. There's a lot of people I post there and write there all the time, and I would be happy to have you. So that being said, Taurus full moon happening October 24th in just a few days. It's a Wednesday here, 12:45 my time, so 12:45 Eastern Standard Time. So what's that? 10, 11, 12. So 9:45 Pacific time, and what would that be? 5:45 in London. We will have the Taurus full moon. We are entering, I put big shift on Earth. I think I put huge shift on Earth or big shift on Earth. A lot of change is coming in at once, and it's really rising up from the surface. This is deep change. We had a lot of fireworks this summer with the eclipses, and there's been a lot of energy this year, a lot of revelations. Jupiter in Scorpio has been profound. We've had secrets revealed. We're learning about power, sexual power, a favorite topic here on this channel. And now we're getting ready to see we're turning the page in the cycle. There's new energy coming in, lots of it. And we're going to really touch on divine feminine wisdom today in this video. Because we're going to be looking really deeply at the moon, which will be in Taurus. First of all, full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus. I mean, I don't know when the last time that happened was. I didn't have time to look it up, but Uranus hasn't been in Taurus since 1934. It was in Taurus from 1934 to 1941. So I don't know if there was a conjunct full moon during that cycle. If you know, and you want to let me know, I would love to hear it. I'd love to hear your comments in the description box, or below the description box in the comment section. Uranus is conjunct or the full moon is going to be conjunct Uranus, and Uranus and the moon work very powerfully together. In the esoteric wisdom, to when the Uranus and the moon get together like that, first of all, in an earth sign, in Taurus, the sign of the earth, um, Uranus at 0 degrees, so at a very, very significant point in the zodiac, just the beginning degree, 0 degrees in a fixed sign, but Taurus, no less, conjunct is conjunct this full moon. It's significant, and it's opposite Venus. Venus in Scorpio retrograde. Uranus is retrograde in Taurus as well, and Venus is conjunct the sun. So there's a very solar feminine quality coming in when Venus and the sun get together. When Venus, like when Venus is in Leo, it's huge. When Venus and the sun meet up, there is it's the true archetypal blue point of sacred union. It's the real inner merging of spirit and soul, because Venus represents the world, all that comes into created form. Venus is really form. She rules form in Taurus. She rules art and beauty and balance in Libra. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, her two main areas of rulership in the zodiac. But Venus is with the sun, and Taurus and Uranus is with the moon. Venus and the moon together oppose another huge, huge, huge thing happening. The reason, because the moon and Venus are two of the divine feminine bodies that work in a very powerful way. The moon governs actually all reproduction and sexuality. The moon on the tree of life is Yesod, and it represents the machinery of the universe. All things are created through this feminine principle of the moon, which is representative of the collective feminine. It's huge. The collective feminine is ruled by the moon. We're ruled by the sun too, but our reproductive capacity imitates Yesod and imitates the moon. Yes, this is where the wisdom of art of the feminine is. This is part of the platform of the work at art of the feminine, just really understanding we all have this psychological foundation within us. And right now, this time, we're entering into the cycle of raising up the new psychological foundation. The moon represents the foundation, both on the tree of life and through her sign Cancer. See if you have any planets in Cancer. I heard from a lot of you that you had planets in Cancer. If you have planets in Cancer, especially your sun, your moon, all of it, with the North Node moving into Cancer, there's going to be you're going to be taking a very active part in this energy that's rising up right now. So we also have so the moon represents that. I'll finish up on that. Venus represents form. Venus is also sexuality, but it's through pleasure, sensuality, the heart, attraction, beauty, desire. Venus is desire through the feminine. The moon is reproduction. And so these both of these divine feminine bodies, the moon and Venus, opposing each other, so they're mating with each other. They are when two things are opposite each other, we know they create a third principle. And this is happening right now with the help of the sun and Uranus conjunct both of these. And so the most significant thing about all of this is that the North Node and the South Node are in the end of their run in Leo and Aquarius, and they are squared by the full moon, Uranus, Venus, and the sun. We're entering into the fixed grand cross that's going to be exact on October 30th, 31st, just in time for the Celtic holiday Samhain. So Samhain takes place on Halloween. It will be at that sacred Celtic holiday. Now you have to remember these holidays and these portals, their portals are used by both the light and the dark. So if you have an association with Samhain that represents the dark or sacrifice or anything like that, the dark uses the portals in the same way the light does. We have both above and below pulling through the energies at the portal. on this platform, we're talking about the energy of evolution, the energy of growth and life and expansion and potential. So we tend to address things through the perspective of the light, the higher light, the light that's beyond polarity. So we have all of this taking place. So let me just take a moment here and kind of scan the sky and see where to go next with it. All right, so we have the moon and Venus. We just mentioned that. The moon is the high priestess in the sacred archetypes. Uranus is the fool, the limitless light, the cosmic egg. It's the womb before the light is birthed into form. It holds the unlimited potential, the limit of the limitless light. It's the alpha and the omega because it represents 0 and it represents 22, the end of the major arcana. So the fool is both the beginning and the end. The cosmic egg in the womb is where we start and it's where we end up. The high priestess, the moon, and we're working through the archetypes, which is what we do here on this platform. I like to call it archetype astrology or divine feminine astrology because we look at the play of life, of form. The high priestess represents the material of creation. It's the substance, it's the ocean, and it's what we all it's what we, and hi to everybody. It's so good to see all of you. It's what we create with. So we live in this ocean. We are in one big ocean. The ocean is one unit itself. It's actually the subconscious mind of the creator. If you think of the creator as being the absolute, beyond the fool, beyond the limitless light, when it comes into form, we're really living in the subconscious mind of God, of the God force, because form takes place within that subconscious mind. So the moon represents our inner subconscious mind and the collective subconscious mind of everything, of the entire cosmos. There's an above polarity and a lower polarity. I just want to mention that we talked about all of this because I won't go into it too deep today. The last video is called The Return of the Cosmic Mother, and the last video I did was about the move of the North Node into Cancer. So that would be a good supplemental video for this video. If you're just joining us today and you don't have any background information on the moon, we talked a lot about the moon, which rules Cancer. So we'll see why this is so powerful, the moon in Taurus. Taurus also represents the home, the family, what we value. It represents sensuality and the sensual life, pleasure. It represents our physical home. It represents, whereas Cancer is more of the psychological home, that the psychological space that the mother gives to the child, and that psychological space exists within each one of us. That's the direction we're going in. That's where we're going to end up at this video. And so let me just take a moment here. We looked at the moon. All right. And Venus is the Empress. So we know we're dealing with the Empress and the High Priestess. Huge. Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Venus rules the home. The moon rules the home. Venus rules the material home through Taurus. She also rules the heart through Taurus. And she rules the Hierophant, the inner hearing and listening. The moon also in Cancer. The sign of Cancer is about receptivity. We talked all about that in the Chariot last video. It's about being receptive and hearing within ourselves, being able to understand who we are. At any given moment, we are our psychological foundation. And so I'm just going to take a second. I'm going to open this, see who's here and see if there's any questions. I need to answer a couple questions that I found on the last video after it was over. And so I think I'm going to get to those. There was one about death and there was one about what is the frequency to create this platform. We'll get to those both today. So where this is all going is that the moon rules our home as in our psychological foundation. This is why it's so important. This is the shift that's happening on Earth. This is the huge shift. The mother principle has been really made to be minimalized. It's also been, suppressed and hindered and blocked for a reason. When we're drawn only to the outer world, materialism, lust, the forms of sexuality that involve lust, greed, power, misuse of children, all of these things, we get distracted from our true inner psychological foundation. And there's a saying, if you don't rule your own subconscious mind, someone will rule it for you. We talked a lot about that one when we did the call on for key 2, the high priestess, when I did the whole series on the archetypes. We have to take charge of our own subconscious mind, and that's what the North Node in Cancer is going to be about. We have to own it. Each one of us as individuals have to find our way in and understand why we crystallize the world around us with our patterns, with our beliefs, with all of the traumas we carry, all of the pain and suffering that we have, as well as all of the happy memories as well. We talked about this. The moon rules memory. Memory is part of the substance of creation. We draw upon memory in a really good way, in a powerful way. But what's happened, this is big, what's happened in this world is that we've had our memories erased. I'm going to say that one more time. We have had our memories erased. When we come into this world, there is a field that makes us forget who we are. We also do not have access to all of the history of the journey of our soul. That's why astrology is really powerful for this. And when I do an archetypal blueprint session, it can tell you where you're coming from, which is incredibly powerful, because as it is right now, most people don't have access to that. It helps to know, first of all, it's just like looking at a photo album. We can look through things and enjoy where we've been, the loves we've had. We learn from our mistakes, our tragedies, so it's nice to file those away and keep them. And we learn from the loves, the great loves of our life. We learn from motherhood. We learn from love. We learn from marriage. We learn from creating. We learn from fame. We learn from all the dark lifetimes that we have perhaps had. We've all had them, but we learn from those things. And so I talked about this in the last video. A lot of spirituality, especially some of the Eastern teachings, which are very big right now, I'm on board for about 90% of most of them, but most of them do not value the past. They consistently say that the past is meaningless. And it's true that we never want to be a slave to our past, especially what we're talking about here is being a slave to our wounds and our patterns that we are unconscious of. If we don't know they're there, they control us. So that's what we're talking about. If you can't remember why you react so defensively, why you feel triggered, why you feel competitive in certain situations when you feel like something's going to be taken, why you fail in the same way in love relationships, why you hit the same blocks with prosperity. The answer to all of that is in our subconscious mind. We don't have to know the details to all of it to move through those blocks at all. We can start right away and affirm something new for ourselves. However, when these things go unchecked, which is what we see in a lot of the so-called enlightened people on the planet, they've reached a certain form of enlightenment, but without any ownership or responsibility of some of the patterns that still exist. It's possible to we're always enlightening. We can go on and up and up and up the scale. That's what we do. But if we awaken, let's say we raise our Kundalini Shakti, which is not that hard to do, but we still carry our neuroses, we still carry our addictions, we still have imbalanced chakra, third chakra and power, we still want to dominate others or manipulate others, we can have all this Kundalini force and it can still be manifesting through those unhealed channels, which is what we see a lot. We see that a lot in the world. So if any person is teaching on that high of level that is discarding relationships or discarding their own healing or discarding their own understanding of the wounds they faced in this lifetime, if they just swept them away to live on a platform where they've got all these people serving them and lots of beauty around them and everything's great and everyone's bowing. And well, of course and a lot of these people will say, oh, why bother that? The good life is here. Just awaken right now. You can have all this right now. It promises enlightenment now. Have you heard that before? Okay. So I don't oftentimes go into criticism, but this is meant to be just a look, a reflective look at. This has been a huge part of my work because in early years, have been involved in exploring many different forms of spirituality and awakening, for some reason, I was always pulled back, always pulled out, and forced to sit with my own revelations, even when I didn't want to be, even when I wanted to be part of a big group or part of a community or this or that. Saturn, because I have a lot of Saturn, would remove me, isolate me, and make me look deeper, and against my own consent. I didn't want it, but it was enforced. And I know why now, because in the divine feminine wisdom, we're having to really understand where our past is and why it's so important to honor it, acknowledge it, and heal it. It doesn't mean we have to go through every detail. We could never get through all of it. We have millions of things we would have to go through. But the big patterns always repeat themselves. Always, always, always. In fact, the biggest pattern that we carry will show up, will not be healed until the very end. So we're all making great progress in our spiritual path. So if you feel discouraged and feel like, oh my God, this has been going on and on and on, the healing just seems like it will never end, know that you're making progress. A lot of things are coming into clarity and good vision for you. The universe saves the biggest for last. Our biggest blind spot is revealed in the end. And it can make us feel like we failed, because at the end, when we've made all this progress in raising our consciousness and shift in our vibration, the big one will come out of nowhere and humble us. It will make us almost feel like we fall back to the beginning, but we're not. It's just that we're really not able to handle the biggest truth about ourselves until we've gained a little bit of maturity and wisdom. Then we sit with it, and the rest will happen individually through each person. So I'm not going to go much deeper on that. Psychological foundation, home foundation. Psychological foundation, the moon in Cancer, north node moving into Cancer, big full moon conjunct Uranus and Taurus. Taurus, the physical home. Both of these things together, the electric magnetic field. I mean, whenever we get masculine and feminine together, we're talking about our aura. We're talking about that whole sphere of light that we live in. And that is, when we talked about the chariot in Cancer, it's that sphere. We are at the nucleus of that sphere. Our aura is the platform to build our Merkaba and our body of light, which is something I teach in light body yoga. It's the light body is coming into we're coming into new realization, but it's a very real psychological reality that that we're going to be building upon as the North Node moves through Cancer, because it's the time. So just taking a moment, I'm going to see what's here. Oh, beautiful. I love that. Since Taurus rules the earth, is it okay to see the full moon as an emotional breakthrough? Oh my God, absolutely. From materialism and comfort zones. Yes. Yeah, actually, so you got it. Yes, Taurus is stubborn. Taurus doesn't like to change, but with the full moon there, conjunct Uranus, opposite Venus, Venus is getting a hit. Venus rules Taurus from the moon and Uranus, saying, as you rule Taurus, we're going to take it into the higher octave instead of being so comfortable. So there's a reason she's steadfast and stubborn there. But you're right. The psychological foundation is being created by kind of blasting that open and revealing. Uranus reveals things. It brings great change. Uranus is revolutionary, and it is downloads of higher light frequencies. So with Venus and the sun in the underworld of Scorpio, it's the solar force down. It represents the seeds of noon. Noon is the seed of the solar seeds that are represented by our sexuality through Pluto and through the underworld of Scorpio. So it's like we're changing the seeds, the actual blueprint, the archetypal blueprint for our psychological foundation is being activated. And so that was really, really nice. Thank you for bringing that in. I love how this is interactive, because you guys always take me in the right direction. It's a collective here. So when I come in here, I write some stuff down, but we're doing what I call light body streaming. It's a live stream, and we're live streaming because we are bringing together all of the minds that are gathered here and receiving, being receptive. And that's what we're receiving from the ocean of life. So, yes, our electric magnetic field. There was something else about Taurus. Well, Taurus is Gaia, it's the planet. And so we know the planet is under huge transformation right now. We are the planet. Um, Let me see, I'll check for questions. There was something else I was going to say about that. The North Node, we talked about the North Node moving into Cancer. Um, oh, I know, it's deep. I cry plenty over all of this. I cry a lot over all of this. Oh my gosh. Oh yes, Sunday is a good day. I like Sunday. Let me know. Come back and let me know in the comments if you like Sunday. I'm really liking the energy of Sunday. It looks like a lot of people can be here. So yeah, we're birthing a new psychological foundation. That means we're going to become our own divine mother. We're going to be birthing our own inner Christ child. So we talk about this in the universal spirituality. This isn't particular to any religion. Even though it's suitable to, it's universal to all of them. I just want to say something about religion and what's happening in the world. Every, Even though everything has been manipulated, all spiritual platforms have the wisdom. Enough of the wisdom that if you are a devout Christian or a devout Jew or devout Muslim or devout Taoist or Tantrika or any of these things, all of the wisdom is there. It's all been manipulated and shuffled. And yes, it's been religions used to control. But if you're not a person if you're a person who's awakened a little bit, you know that all it takes is take Christianity. If you just live by the wisdom of those teachings of Jesus, just the teachings of, first of all, I almost named the video this, the golden rule. Do unto others. This is the rule for this age, by the way. This is if you want it, if you're having a hard day, remember this. Do unto others as you would like them to do to you. Something like that. Do unto others, treat others as you want to be treated. That's the rule for this age, for the golden age. Where there's going to be, with Jupiter coming into Sagittarius, I'm doing a video for Jupiter and Sagittarius. I think I'm gonna do Scorpio new moon on Friday, but then we'll do that one after. Jupiter and Sagittarius, truth and justice and courts and the whole thing. It's all coming in, but also the great alchemy. But the real justice is treating others as we want to be treated. Humans are programmed to blame. And so this can be controversial to say because obviously this is not me. There is a time when we are meant to speak our truth in the moment. Honestly, if somebody does us wrong and we need to confront that, beautiful. Do it with integrity. Do it without vengeance, without revenge. Do it as a kind act to your brother or sister. If someone has hurt you, let them know. If they don't want to take responsibility for it and it's terrible, let the authorities know or let the proper channel know so that you can feel complete in that you have done what you need to do. But don't exploit it. Don't manipulate it. And don't get caught in the trap that we see in this world, the big, huge drama, the big, huge engineered thing, which has got everyone under massive mind control and everyone, even the most awake of us, fall for it every day. Every day we turn on our television, our social media, we fall for it on some level. I catch myself all the time. And it's okay. It's part of the reality we're in. So we're meant to be part of it. But are those people that we're watching or that are telling us what to do doing unto others as they would like done to them? Ask yourself that. If they're not, it's probably not a worthy channel of your time. Not at this point. If you're awake and you see someone treating people in a way that they would not stand to be treated themselves, they're not a real teacher with a capital T. Meaning once you start to teach people or lead people, you're a political leader or a spiritual teacher, it's very important to walk your talk as much as you can. So you want to treat others the way you want to be treated. The more awake you get, the more influence you get, the more the universe will call you out on every last thing, every conversation. You'll just be shown when you wobble or when you step off. And you'll be shown also what to do about it because you can heal it within yourself. But that's where we're going to really. Service is powerful for that. When we serve others, we're automatically doing to others who are less fortunate what we would hope. Listen, look, if we did something terrible, we have all done something that we hide and that we're ashamed of. everybody. And if you haven't done anything that you're ashamed of in your lifetime, chances are that you probably have played it too safe because if or you're a saint or you this is your lifetime for pure you were born a saint. But oh, and I'm going to look at this. So the throat chakra, yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you for mentioning that. We'll talk about it. Um, so meaning like if we've lived life, if we're sure that we've made mistakes. We all have something dark that we don't want people to know just because we're working it out and we're trying to. If everyone knew, how would you want people to treat you? What would be the most healing way? Oh my gosh, I have something so powerful to share. So powerful that an astrologer sent to me. I forget, I don't have his name. I will bring that back next time. I'll actually ask him if it's okay to mention his name, but he wrote to me and sent me this beautiful tradition of how a certain tribe heals people when they've done something wrong. And they heal them with music. They have a song when the person is born, they gather around, the tribe gathers around and sings their song. Oh, this is so beautiful. And so that's they receive it from spirit and from the soul itself, and they all sing to the child. And then at all the crucial initiations in the child's life, they sing to the child. And the child knows its song, and he knows the community knows its song as well. When that person reaches a point in their life where they fail miserably or where they do something that's goes against that is out of alignment, rather than the kind of what we would think of as just justice in our world. This person sits with themselves, reflects on what they do, and then the tribe comes and gathers around and sings them their song to help them remember who they are. When they hear everyone, oh God, this is so deep. It's like, if you have a child and like when you're, how this is mother love. This is it. That is the love of the mother. When you hear everyone singing to you and reminding who you are, it automatically harmonizes you from within. It might take a while, it might happen anyway. It's just profound. We're remembering because the feminine is music, it's rhythm, it's all of these things. And yes, it's music from the throat. You mentioned the throat chakra. Yes. Venus rules our words. So speak unto others the way you would like to be spoken to. That's a good one. That's one I had to really learn. I have a lot of Venus. I'm a Taurus. My sun is in Taurus. I have Venus opposite, or I have Mercury opposite Mars. And so I got to learn a lot about the power of language through my own power of the word and what would happen when it would go off track. Our words are how we love people. When we speak to people, it's profound. When we sing to people, Taurus rules the throat and music, it rules singers. So let me just look at this question. So, question I've heard, okay, I think I missed that last one. Okay, so I'm going to look at both of these. Taurus rules the throat chakra. So with the full moon, there will be more speaking up emotional truths. Yes. And things being revealed due to Venus about love issues, harmful relationships, and to get revolution. Thank you, Supernal Sacred Space. Absolutely. Mercury is we have 7 planets in fixed signs. 4 of them in Scorpio. Mercury is in Scorpio. It just will have squared Mars exact, but it will still be in a 4-degree orb square with Mars in Aquarius. So Mars is in the sign of the age of Aquarius, squaring Mercury in Scorpio. Mercury will be in Scorpio at 21 degrees. People will be speaking their truth. Mercury rules the mind and the voice as well, speaking the word. Yes, absolutely. Revelations will be coming, and Venus retrograde in Scorpio is about the underbelly of our relationships as well as the merging. Scorpio is the 8th house. It represents how we merge with others. All of you are affected by the Venus retrograde. I also have a Venus retrograde video. So a couple very popular video. You wouldn't know it if you saw the views on YouTube. There's something going on there because it got over 1,000 shares on social media. I did a video for the Venus retrograde as well that you can find. So Venus retrograde video and North Node and Cancer video both have a lot on this. But yes, when Venus is retrograde, we're reworking relationships and learning. And because Venus is now in this opposition with the sun, her mate, opposing the moon and Uranus, huge. All right, question. Thank you for the caps. Nice. I've heard and seen how even when people report horrific events, especially around sex, trafficking, abuse, that the authorities ultimately don't do much about it. Do you have any thoughts? Oh, yeah, I do. And this is, this is something that I've been working with for many, many years. And it's one of the reasons I was drawn into this work. And it's probably one of the reasons you don't see as many views as you should on this channel, I will say, because there's censorship for certain frequencies and how they're approaching this. There's plenty of information out there, but when you start to tap a real frequency in the heart, it's not desired on this planet. And so never fear, because slowly but surely the last to rise will be the ultimate truth from the heart, from the feminine. That's what's happening here. And so thank you for that question. So yes, so what you can do about that is when things are not reported, first of all, sing that person their song, meaning collectively understand that we are singing to those. I bless every day. This has become more and more of a practice in my work every day when I start my day and throughout the day, because there are people suffering. All of us suffer. We all suffer. So we send love to everybody, but meaning we're all healing. This is the era of healing, but there's children and women and men that have been horrifically abused or being trafficked. What you can do is ask, first of all, it's great to know your archetypes. You kind of know where you fit in. Like, are you about justice? Are you about writing, revealing? Are you divine love? Are you in service? Are you about authority? Are you meant to be a power, a more masculine power, more feminine power? Where do you fit? But your heart will tell you. What do you feel? How do you feel activated when you hear about these things? So just first of all, know that we crystallize from within. Go into your own psychological foundation and know how much power you have. The fact that we are led to believe that we're just one little person on this planet that's controlled by the dark or manipulated, it's not true. It's not true. That's why we want to awaken, because when you understand that, yes, the picture show is still taking place, but the hearts of those who need your love are going to feel it for every person who awakens and knows what kind of divine mother freaking power, divine will you have operating inside you. First of all, the subconscious mind of the moon connects. There is no time and space. Every point is connected to every point. This is huge. When you go into your subconscious mind and you use Venus, the desire force, and the creative imagination, you start to send love to these people, you help empower them, and they themselves will become activated. Prayer and uniting with people are huge. The more people that are doing this rather than believing the blame. I'm going to talk, the last thing I want to finish on is blame, because I kind of brought something in that I believe I meant to say. You're gonna help people in ways that you might not show up in the seen world, but trust me, it's working. And then never neglect the seen world. Find out where your voice is meant to be heard. Don't do it just for, a lot of people speak up that are starting out, or kind of self-righteous, or kind of feel like they're taking down people, they're doing this thing. Sometimes we're meant to do that, but also remember, do unto others as you would want them to do to you. Just keep that in the back of your mind. That will reveal a lot to you. How we take down people or bring people to justice. Remember, everyone on the outside is also a reflection of you. We're one. That's, we talk about that a lot, but it's true. You have to get to know your inner landscape to understand how real this is. And this is the era that we're doing it. So connect with people. I find myself just going through the day and just feeling children and, feeling their little hearts and feeling their power, feeling their spirit, feeling their soul, and telling them, you can do it. Like, you have the ability to bring light to the very exact place that you are right now. Does this mean that we don't need hardcore, real justice, rescuing, and all that? No, we need all that too. But if you get all that without the love, the cycle repeats itself. This is what I want to say. First of all, I also want to say an aspect. Saturn is Saturn from Capricorn at 4 degrees, trine the moon and Uranus. Huge, huge positive flow from Saturn. Saturn is at the full moon in Taurus, sextiling exact degree 4 degrees Venus. So first of all, wherever this Venus retrograde falls for you, you're going to get help from Saturn. Saturn and Venus work very powerfully together. I know they're two of my ruling planets. They teach us, but when it comes time for rewards, Saturn will download the rewards for loving you. So just find out where Saturn and Venus are in your chart, see which houses are being really activated, but ask where that's being activated for your love. So that being said, oh, okay, I was going to go into the blame, what I wanted to say to close. As I saw that. So Saturn's a huge player in this. Saturn is the divine mother. It's cosmic consciousness and the archetypes. It's key 21. Saturn will eventually download the full realization. So don't shun Saturn. She is Binah on the tree of life, and she represents the third Sephirah, the number 3, and the divine mother. All right, so here's what I want to close with. Human beings are trained to blame. We're programmed to blame. Now, what this means is that, think about it, there's always someone to blame, always. Throughout history, I mean, we think it's pretty bad now because of artificial intelligence, so, technology, everything is in our face, everywhere. It's harder than ever to go within. But tragedy and war and revolution and crimes against humanity and slavery and all of this, oh my God, think of these different revolutions of Russian and French and American. Think of how bloody these things are. Think of World War I, World War II. I mean, these are horrific things that people lived with, the reality of it in their face. I mean, there has been the Crusades, the history of the aristocracy and the people and the peasants and it's never ending. This has been going on since the beginning of the time. There's always someone to blame. There's always going to be a Donald Trump. There's always going to be a Putin. There's always going to be regardless of how you feel about them. I'm just saying we always look to these things. There's always going to be the dark forces. Always. Because they're part of creation. We've birthed them within ourselves and now crystallized in form. But so there's always something to complain about. We tend to feel good when we know what to complain about. We're complaining about the right thing. However, blame takes our power away. It doesn't mean we don't use our voice to speak up about it, but catch yourself. Just listen to yourself when you're talking with your friends. And it's fun to talk politics and all. I love all that stuff. But blame, meaning calling things out and pointing to what's the boogeyman on the outside, has to be balanced with inner work. The inner alchemy, which is the sun and Venus, which is the moon and Uranus. We're talking the inner psychological foundation. If you're not balancing with that, it doesn't matter. You can point out every boogeyman out there, every victim, every perpetrator. The cycle is on and on. The wheel keeps going around and around. We go to higher rungs, but we have to realize. I think blame is this tower. I can't remember. I'll look. Yeah. Okay. I think no. It's actually. I think it's the devil. It's the archetype. It's bondage. Blame equals bondage. Excuse me. While I constantly have numbers going through my head. Blame is bondage, and it binds us. There's a place for blame, but but you want to be on the right side of history. Stop blaming and start creating. Even in relationships, we're trained to blame the other. There's very real things that happen. I can tell you from all the work I've done on myself and mentoring, the real key to change always comes when you see yourself. Always. When you see your power, when you see your light, when you see your glory, because when you see it in yourself, you can see it in every living being the same. You will understand when you understand that you've been given mercy, that you've been loved, that you're being groomed through this process of awakening. You will have the same compassion for every other being. And when you have to hold justice and balance and call things out, you will do it from a place of purity and power. That we talked about that in the Virgo new moon. So that being said, okay, I'm just going to take a quick peek at these. The books say Saturn, but my personal experience was she's Defiantly a she. Oh, yes. Oh, that's a great thing. I'm glad you said that. So Saturn in our exoteric mythology is Kronos. Yes, it's a male vibration. This is a good point. But in the wisdom and in Kabbalah and in Gnostic teachings, in alchemy, and all these the which is what my background is in, and along with deep sitting with the divine feminine, um, platform of teachings over many, many years. Saturn is actually the mother, the force of contraction. We think of her, she also brings death and change. Through Scorpio, we see the archetype death. Everything changes. Everything is born and dies, especially in this reality. It's a little more harsh. I was going to mention something about death also, but that's a good point. Yes, Saturn is both, all of the archetypes are both male and female. It depends on where you're looking at them. Here, we think of Kronos and in the mythology, we think of Saturn is the male vibration, but in the esoteric, Saturn is the feminine, the mother, Bina. Um, we could say that for every single planet in all of their mythology. Um, there was something else. And then I'm just going to see if anyone has any more questions. I'll scroll through these and see if I can find anything that I missed. Yes, seeing people's souls. Yes, see people's souls. Yes, yes, yes. See their soul. You do yourself a favor and you do the other person when you look at take time and practice looking at people as a soul. You're doing everyone a favor when you do that. I think that's it. Please let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you can feel the shift coming in. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. And so, next video will be the Scorpio new moon. I look forward to that. As always, if these are live streams, sometimes I'll say the exact opposite of what I meant because I get going. If that happens, always please let me know. I so appreciate it. And then I put corrections underneath. That's the only thing about a live stream, you can't edit it. But yeah, we're doing Scorpio new moon on Friday. And Scorpio new moon is like the regeneration and rebirth of Scorpio after all of this activity has taken place in Scorpio. So that being said, thank you for joining me live, and make sure to subscribe if you're new, and you'll get notifications when we're doing these live streams. And that being said, have a beautiful, beautiful new week. Enjoy Taurus, do something sensual, do something beautiful, and do something in nature. Enjoy Samhain around Halloween. Look for that fixed cross. Would love to hear what your observations on that are. You could even come back to this video and let me know. I look, because this video, I check back for like the next week or two to see what people are saying. So that being said, have a wonderful week. Many blessings. Until next time.